Welcome to my garden. Now we're going to get through this together. Lots of uncertainty, lots of fear with the virus, lots of anxiety, lots of worry. All legitimate, and it's something we should all be feeling. But we can't feel it 24/7. So I wanted to do a video series taking the rusted garden homestead and mixing it with my profession as a mental health therapist. So this video is all about mental health, mental wellness, and mindfulness. Now this isn't going to be my standard more focused videos on just showing you how to do something. It's going to be about a 20 or 30 minute video because it's really about taking our 5 senses and getting lost in the task. And today's video is all about growing lettuces in flower boxes. So you don't need any experience. Maybe you're stuck at home, you're looking for something to do. Gardening is a great way to kind of get lost, in a day for 20 or 30 minutes, lost in an activity, and just kind of refresh from everything that's going on. So let's get started. I'll explain the concepts of mental wellness, mindfulness as we're going along, and we're going to plant up some lettuces in flower boxes. I think we're all familiar with what mental health means. It has a little bit of a stigma to it, and because of that, we've kind of switched over to mental wellness. So that when you were dealing with mental health before, it was, primarily when you had a problem. Mental wellness is doing positive things to help your mental health. Mindfulness is not something you just say, hey, I'm being mindful, look at me. Seriously, it takes practice. You have to get all 5 senses focused on the activity you're doing. The activity we're doing is gardening. And when you get lost in the activity, you forget. You forget what's worrying you, you forget the stress, and it just gives you a chance to recharge. So I live on 2 acres. As we're doing this, you're going to hear farm vehicles in the background, trucks, but if we're lucky, we'll start hearing bird sounds. There's hawks around here, and all the birds just started coming out over the last couple of days. So start, trying to listen and hear what you hear in the background. Flower boxes. You can get a brand new flower box, you can get a black flower box, you can get anything that you want. If you can't find a flower box, you can plant in the ground right now. You can use old plastic containers, but the whole idea is let's just get started. Now, I recommended in my Facebook group to get a green leaf lettuce, a red leaf lettuce. These are mustard greens. I really like the color of the red velvet lettuce. We're going to plant up the flower boxes. You can hear an airplane in the background. And we're also going to put in some arugula. Now, you can use soil from your garden if you have a garden. You can use, stuff from flower beds. If you can't get to the potting mix, potting mix is made up of shredded hardwood, some different things in there, and it's really light and it's great for the root systems of your lettuce plants. And you can see the different shreds of wood in there. The little pieces of white are vermiculite, and the little green balls are actually fertilizer. Sometimes you can get a potting mix without fertilizer. That's what I recommend. We're going to take care of these plants. If you want to subscribe to the series, we're going to take care of them with a water-soluble fertilizer. You just want to dig into the bag and fill up your flower box. As you're going through, press it down. You want a nice firm base for your seeds to grow into. Now, if you're going to use any kind of container, make sure it has holes in it, because you want anything that you put into here to drain out the bottom. If this filled up with water, it would kill off your plants. The potting mix and the shredded hardwood will really hold moisture. Just make sure it drains well. Press it in. Now when you're looking for containers or you're picking up flower boxes, this one's about 4 inches. This is all you need for lettuces. That's why I wanted to start with the lettuces first. They grow really well. This one's a little bit bigger, that's 6 inches, but you only need a box with 4 or 6 inches of depth to it. And I think the first thing I want to plant, which I told you, these are just, especially when it's cool. Like right now, although today is 73 degrees, it's going to get back down in the 50s during the days, 40-degree nights. Lettuces are cool weather plants. You want to grow these when you have 40-degree nights, 30-degree nights, 50-degree days, you can see there's a lot of seeds, nice and white, shape of a football. Because they're cool weather plants, if you were to plant lettuce in June here in Maryland Zone 7, right now it's March 20th, the seeds, the plants are going to grow really fast, they're going to be bitter. So you want to grow your lettuces when it's cool out. And I'm going to take, there's probably 30 seeds here, I'm just going to sprinkle them all over. We're not going to grow just a couple of seeds in here. If we did, we get really big plants. We're going to grow it for baby lettuce. And what that means is we're putting in a lot of seeds, and when these plants get 4 inches, 5 inches tall, we're going to cut the leaves, leave the roots in the ground, we'll get more lettuce. That's called cut and come again lettuce. And you just need to mix them in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch deep, and then press them in like that. And this sets up the red velvet lettuce. These will sprout, germinate in about anywhere from 5 to 10 days, depending on what your temperatures are. Let me move this one out of the way. We'll fill up this container. And this is almost a soilless mix. I mean, it's just finely shredded wood, which is perfect for flower boxes, perfect for containers. And if you have kids, this is a great activity for kids too. If you get some popsicle sticks, you can cut up milk cartons after you've used up the milk, cut them into just little rectangles, and they can write on here what you're growing. They can decorate them. You can explain to them that, you know, lettuces actually come from the garden, not the grocery store. And you can teach them about where food comes from and how they can grow it. And that's a lesson that if they enjoy it, they're taught it young, it stays with them. I learned everything about vegetable gardening at a very early age. My grandfather would come around, he'd carry in a old Maxwell House container that was filled with lime, a 6-pack of tomato plants, and he would show me how to dig the planting hole, add in some lime to sweeten the soil, he would say, and that's all I needed to kind of launch my passion for gardening, and it stuck with me for a good 45 years right now. Hopefully another couple of decades of building up the rusted garden, and I will get to not only pass it on to my kids who are adults now, but pass it on to my grandchildren, and they can run through here and just experience everything I've built, you know, over my history. Now, mustard greens will grow leaves about this size. They're a little bit spicy, so we're not going to put in as many as we did with the lettuces. The lettuces were a good 20 or 30 seeds. These are shaped different too. The other ones were footballs shaped. They were lettuce. This is a different variety. It's not a lettuce. So it's tiny little balls, probably hard to see. We're going to put one seed about every 1 to 2 inches. Now, when you plant these, you usually plant them about a foot apart, and they'll get the big leaves. We're going to let these grow larger, but we're just going to cut them, you know, as we need them once they get to a couple of inches. And again, it was 1 seed, 2 seeds, 3 seeds, 4 seeds, 5 seeds, 6 seeds, maybe about 7 seeds, just down the middle like that. And that will add a little bit of spice and color to your salads. Now this is a bigger box. Again, make sure all your boxes have holes in them. going to fill it up with the potting mix. If you didn't have potting mix, again, you could just take soil from the ground. This is kind of a mix now. Oh, my knife for the bag. If you see any weeds, if you're using stuff from the earth, just toss them out. Press it down, make a nice firm base. And then after we get this planted, I'm going to go show you what some of your lettuces and plants will look like so you can know what to look for. So we're going to take, in this one, I think I'm going to do the green bib lettuce. It's a nice, firm, loose leaf variety. It holds salad dressings very well. And I'm going to plant these right along here, and then I'm going to do arugula right along here. And I'm taking a pinch, and I'm dropping, that was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seeds right along there. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, about to 25, 26, 27, 28. Let's put a few more in. About 35 seeds all along here. Now if you want them to get bigger, you can thin them out. Also, once they grow, like if there's a clump of lettuce coming up, you can remove the clump, dig down deep, and then plant them somewhere else. Leave a couple lettuces here, remove some lettuce, leave lettuce, remove lettuce. These will get bigger, and now you can take the ones that you moved, put them somewhere else. You can put them into the ground, you can put them into other containers. And again, about 1/4 of an inch. That's the green bib lettuce. And you definitely do want to label this. If you don't have something to put in here, I get a sheet of paper and I would draw like a big rectangle in the middle of the paper and just write in there what it is. And then this is a smaller box, so on the paper I would put, you know, the smaller box here, write in what it is. Because you will forget. Well, if you're at least like me, I remember everything for a good 15 minutes, and then a day later I won't remember. So this is arugula. If you can't get out and can't get to the stores, you can order seeds online. And then the arugula, that was a good 15 or 20 seeds. Arugula has a nice nutty flavor to it. So that was already about 30 seeds. I am just sprinkling them down along that line. And I'm going to mix them in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch deep. So that sets up my flower boxes. We have the red lettuce, we have the green lettuce, we have the mustard greens. Now, once this is done, get a sprinkling or a watering can and just sprinkle the water on, soak it in, and that's all you really have to do. With the cooler weather, you leave these outside, at least 6 hours of sun. When they look dry, the top's going to dry first. So remember, the top's dry first, there's some moisture underneath, so just scratch down. If there's still moisture, they're good to go. If it looks like it's drying up, a quick watering. But the way the temperatures are now, it stays cool, the moisture stays here, and it's been raining a lot. Alright, so let me take you through my garden, and I'm going to show you some different lettuces that are coming up, different ways I planted it, and just the different colors. It's really beautiful, and it's enjoyable to look at. So right in here is one of my flower boxes, and if you listen, that's the hawk. So this is actually agricultural fabric. So I put this up so that it keeps insects off these plants, because in here I have kale, which we didn't plant, and this white moth comes around, lays eggs on the kale, and these green caterpillars come and they'll devastate the leaves. So the fabric is one way to really deal with it. So I wanted to show you some of the red lettuce. Let's get that in focus. It's beautiful. Now this is just 1 or 2 seeds. Things are spaced out in here because I'm growing these for larger size heads rather than how we're doing the cut and come again lettuce. But as your seedlings, your lettuce grows up, you can thin it out, you can move them around. That's endive. It has a little bit of a bitter taste to it. It's really good. And in the back there, that's kale. That is a green leaf lettuce. This is spinach, which you could do too. Let's get that in focus. Now this is yellowing a little bit, so it needs a little bit of fish fertilizer, but it should be fine. And here's another red lettuce. That's a red romaine. And there's really 4 or 5 seeds in each of those plugs. So this is one way that I grow my greens. In agricultural fabric, and it stays protected. Rain will come through the fabric. I can water through the fabric. And the moth and insects that may eat them stay away. You don't need to worry about that with your flower boxes. Things will be fine. Actually, not much bothers the lettuces and the mustard greens and the arugula. Let's go to another place I'm growing lettuce. So the greens that you just saw, I was actually growing them indoors. So I seed started them and they grew inside for about maybe 4 or 5 weeks. This is red lettuce that I planted outside about 10 days ago, and they're just breaking the surface. Now I went to different, I hate when I forget things. I went to different thrift stores and bought just these old vases. They're only like $1 or $2. And I use them as cloches to cover up seeds that I put in the ground because we're still getting some frost. And it kind of keeps the area warm. And you can see the baby lettuce coming up right in there. It's another red lettuce. One of my favorite things to grow are the red lettuces. I think they just look really cool. So I'll let them grow under here till they're about 1 inch tall, and I'll take the vases off. And remember, I was saying that your lettuces and your greens really can take the cold. They like the cold, actually. And lettuce can freeze solid. I have a lot of pictures where lettuce has frosted over, the leaves are frozen, there's frost patterns on them, and then they thaw out during the warming morning and are perfectly fine. So your lettuces can actually freeze. So if you're growing these, you don't have to worry if a frost comes because they're going to be perfectly fine. Okay, let's look at one more place that I have my lettuce is growing. It's a tower. It's a 5-tier tower. So this is my vertical tower where I also grow the lettuce greens. We're growing the loose leaf lettuce, big floppy leaves, and it's not like iceberg lettuce that gets into a head. So let me show you what I'm growing in here. And again, these are all started in my house. This is actually beet greens. This will grow into a beet, but you can eat beet greens. I love the deep purple-red color. Here's another red leaf lettuce. And growing right next to that are pea plants. So I put peas down in the bottom, and I'm going to let the peas trellis right up the side of the vertical container. We have some more lettuce greens right in there. This is the same red romaine that I was showing you. I mean, just look at that beautiful color. You don't find this in grocery stores. That's why I love growing my own plants. I mean, just take a look at that. Pause for a second. I mean, it's beautiful to look at. Endive, all kinds of different greens. Growing in flower boxes is a great way to get started gardening. And your leafy greens, because of them being cool weather plants, they can take a frost. They're just a great way to get started. Introduce yourself to gardening, introduce your kids, and just take the time to take a break during the day. I think we're going to end by going up the tower and taking a look at my magnolia tree, because this only blooms and lasts for about a week. And it's spectacular. Absolutely beautiful. Pink and white flowers. You can smell how sweet the fragrance is. And pretty soon there'll be bees and insects coming out here to the garden. For part of this series, I'm also going to do, I guess, mindful walks, I've decided. There's one of the motorcycles I was talking about. You can hear that in the background. Usually about this time too, we have a neighborhood hound that starts howling. But as part of the series, I'm going to do a mindful walk through the garden and just show you the different things that I enjoy, how I like to take a break. Gardens are a lot of work, but there's a lot of beauty in here if you just take the time, listen, and think about all your effort that goes into taking care of the plants, all the work that you do. It's kind of like sculpting in the earth. You come up with ideas, you plant seeds, and then you create beautiful works of nature. All right, now remember, we're going to get through this together. We're not going to pretend we don't worry. We aren't going to pretend we're not scared. We're not going to pretend we're not stressed. We're going to simply take breaks during the day to kind of get lost in an activity. And the activity that I enjoy is vegetable gardening.